Today, I think we're sort of still progressing, adding to what we've been talking about. Several weeks ago, we talked about, the Christ consciousness. Then we went into consciousness. Then we went into, just like continuing to build on this idea. What is consciousness? And today I want to talk about knowing who I am, or knowing what I am, or any wording along those lines. In other words, the I am presence. So this is our real consciousness. We went unconscious somewhere along the line. As soon as we forgot our divinity, we've gone unconscious, which is a funny terminology, like the doctor saying, "I'm sorry, ma'am, he's still unconscious." Yes, that's us. When you forget who you are, and especially when it entails your divinity, do you see the metaphor of being unconscious? Now, the good news, calling it unconscious might even sound like a criticism. No, this is good news. Because when you're unconscious, there's still a chance you're going to wake up. So it's not like it's a bad thing or a permanent thing, but it is a thing. And it is a choice we've made somewhere along the line. We walk around acting, we're just a living dead. I mean, people are walking around acting alive, thinking that by reading labels on cans, they're improving their life. Man, I used to be asleep, but now I read, I look for MSGs. Just look for signs of being unconscious. Well, how will I know? Anytime you're not thinking, acting, feeling, experiencing perfection of God, then you're sort of unconscious. And then people would listen to that and go, well, no way, because that's all the time. Yes, exactly. God said, let there be light. And we said, how about shades of light? Gray, darkness, semi, this and that. That's us. God's saying, let there be light. And in the light of being, the palette is infinite in colors. And we chose to live colorless. It makes no sense to have had harmony and melody, all that could be love, and choose something else, something that's dark or fear-based. If you have absolute oneness with God, who in their right mind would choose fear? I mean, what sane person would ever take a child and wish upon them darkness? Nobody in their right mind. Agreed? But I'm not saying that you're in your right mind. That's the whole point. If you wouldn't wish darkness upon a child, why do we choose it for ourselves? Well, I'm not choosing. It's not a conscious choice. Why? So that we can say, I don't remember doing that. See? Avoidance. Not taking responsibility. So whether you reside in the fourth dimension, fifth dimension, different parts of the galaxy, solar systems, other planets, you're a light being, you're an ET, ancient Native American, modern, marvel of some kind, wherever you've lived, anytime we've ever lived, it's very important for us to realize wherever I am, and what I see, feel, experience in any way is a reflection of my consciousness. It's kind of simple that way. What gets challenging is that people don't want to take responsibility and say, well, that means if I have, what about war? I didn't choose war. I didn't make war. That's because you have an I creator and a we creator. There's me and there's us. So there are things that I'm very much contributing to, affecting my life, and there are things that we're co-creating. Now, people like hearing about the co-creating because then they can go, thank God it wasn't me. You're still in the we. You're still one of us. So when one of us has a dark, fearful thought, that vibe goes out there and we all get to decide whether we're going to get on board with that. When you do things that are love-based, even if it's setting boundaries, saying no to something, when you know your goal is to set a better standard and not have corruptions, or whether it's mental or different kinds of corruptions, emotional corruption, negativity, hurtfulness, selfishness. At some point, we have the right to just say no. And what's nice about this is when, this is all about what Buddha said in his first major insight. What is going on in this world? He says the number one challenge is ignorance. And people actually still think that meant a lack of reading. Like educational ignorance. No. What's wrong with these people, man? He's talking about ignorance, meaning not knowing, not what's in a book, not knowing who you are. That's all. And it makes total sense. So Buddha goes, I get it. The number one problem, people have forgotten who they are. The number one solution, I don't know, remembering. That's his first pivotal, and it rides all the way through everything he teaches. It's not like that became old. This is still today the standard. People have forgotten who they are. Remembering is the key. Why do we come to services? Why do we read books? Why do we go and do breathwork healings? They're all steps to remembering. So if we realize it's not like I have so much I got to do, so much I've got to do to grow and become spiritual. No. One thing, remember. All the things you do are just simple tools to get to that point. What's forgiveness about? Forgiveness is restoring my memory. Because amnesia comes from judgment. As soon as I judge, see, this is the funny thing. As soon as I judge, I'm confirming that I forgot who I am. Not only because of the ethics of shouldn't judge people or yourself, but the very idea that I think that I can judge means that I'm not who I really am. Because if I knew who I was, I would be God and I wouldn't be judging. So judgment just confirms, when you see somebody judging, think about it. Don't say this to them. But when you see somebody judging, in your mind, instead of going, God, so rude and what a jerk, stop and go, oh, poor thing. And the louder they get, and the more obnoxious about their judgments about people, races, genders, whatever, the more you can just do a little adjustment in your head and go, this is how much they've forgotten who they are. Because if they knew they couldn't do this, where does that lead us? Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. That's what he was saying. Which is kind of like saying, wow. Just the subtext. Hello. What is, wow. Y'all are just not being yourselves, The Texas Jesus would say it that way. So all y'all are messed up, So if we say this in a simplistic way, we could say that the more our lives reflect goodness, the more we remember who we are. This is if it were simplistic. The more we create or have challenges in our life, the more it's mirroring that we've forgotten. But I said that's simplistic because it's not cut and dry so much because there's also we creating things. Some people are going to hear me say that and go, but I'm a pretty decent person and I have had some challenges. Or what about children that are coming in, and they seem really pure, beautiful, and still challenges? Because it may not be the individual or you that's doing this, number one, and it could be the us. See, you could be experiencing our challenges that we co-created today. Does that make sense? Okay, that's the first thing to remember. The second thing to remember when you're having challenges, especially if they're challenges you might think are maybe undeserved or not vibrationally compatible to your real consciousness, you also have to remember it's not like you stopped, or that I'm telling you stopped in this morning and went, okay, I woke up and then I went, okay, here's the kind of challenge I would like today. It's not like I'm saying that you made conscious decisions to have challenges. That's the point. And I don't know that I've ever heard a teacher address this. I've heard people say, well, why'd you create that? It's like, God, why do you say, these people that act like they're teachers? Well, why did you create that? You just want to smack them. Come on, shake them up. Seriously, that's the greatest wisdom you can give me? I'm suffering today and you told me, well, why'd you create that? That's not a wise person. And maybe everybody has said this at least once, so it's our bad. It's not that someone created it. It's not like somebody, and what happens is if you can prove that doesn't make sense, that people would create naughty things or hurtful things, you're proving that there's no responsibility and law of mental creation. That's not going to be good. This is a fact. Everything on the outside mirrors the inside. It's not arbitrary. There's not, except for the drum sitting over there. If it's not believed in, how could it have shown up? Somebody decided they believed in it. And if we look at it as a group of people and go, there's a sun in the sky, you can count on it being a we creation. If I look and see 3 suns and you only see one, all of you see only one, it's probably mine. So when one person says, here's my reality, and everybody else is going, no, yeah, it might be that I could be off. Sometimes we're seeing a different reality because we're seeing from a higher consciousness, like Jesus, Buddha, Martin Luther King, etc. And the world doesn't dig that. They're like, hey, can you tone it down a little? You're being too clear. But what is happening, and this is the important piece, is that you don't have to order up like you're ordering a meal at a diner. I want financial challenge today. This will be fun. I'm not saying, you know what you did? It's that you didn't think a different thought. All you have to do is doubt, which is all unconscious, almost always unconscious, a doubt about who you are, and the universe will match it. It's all you have to do. You don't have to consciously order a challenge. All you have to do is unconsciously forget who you are. And the universe goes, oh, look, a sleeping person. What would wake them up? Oh, I know. A debt that they can't pay. That tends to really get humans, attention. Drop something on their foot. That'll work. There's all these spiritual beings going, yeah, I have ideas. They just experiment. Because they're trying to get us to go, wait a minute, and reach bottom. That's it. They can't match my consciousness if it's your issues, and or the other way around. Everything is matching I and we, I and we, I and we, and it can't make up something else arbitrarily. I want a different life. I want to have your consciousness, I want the creation you have in your life. I have to change my tone, my vibration, my keynote. I have to say, you know what? We're going to change what keys we're playing in today, what key we're playing in. We're going to shift to this key instead of that key. But I've got to do it. How do the musicians in the orchestra or a band know if somebody doesn't order up a different key? It's got to be brought in. A different consciousness has to be brought in. Well, who's going to do it? I can't wait till the UFOs come and change everybody's vibration. Trust me, if you wanted such a thing to happen, and if they would come and change your vibration, you probably wouldn't like it. Because if there are beings that are going to make you altered, it's usually not a good thing. Light beings would be supporting your shift into your new consciousness, not giving you a new, genetic experimentation. Instead, it would be, how can we hold and support your awakening to a whole new consciousness, a whole new vibration? That's what angels would do. That's what masters would do, supporting our shift. But I still have to participate. The shift can't be, give me a different consciousness. It's help me peel the layers off of a false consciousness, and I'll be restored back to my real consciousness. So this whole concept is really about, can we really do this? Can we really breathe and go, this might be true, that everything's not just, this is what a lot of schools say today, the vibration. Let's just change vibrations. How? Change your thinking. Just positive thinking will do it. It isn't going to do it. You can try and it'll help positive thinking. But listen, if I don't believe in what I'm positively thinking, it's not going to work. My belief systems are the most powerful thing in my being. Not praying for a different life, changing my thoughts. How to change my thoughts? Change my beliefs. This is why I'm saying today, let's call it the theme of knowing who I am. Because that's what I want. I don't just want happier thoughts. I want to know who I am, which is the same as saying what God created me to be. I want to know my holiness, and I'm ready. And all the other stuff that shows up to the contrary, get behind me, Satan. Just using, terminology we've all heard. No, that's not going to work for me. There's a belief. Now there's 2 ways you can know who you are. One comes from your own doing, and one comes from asking the divine. When you ask to know who you are and you're relying on people, you can go to a seminar or a New Thought church, and there's a lot of people getting into that. Wow, you're wonderful. I believe in you. See, that helps. But it's like wearing a bra to get a lift. You're just a little more lifted. I left that New Thought church today and I feel better. But inside, the ego's going tearing, just shredding, the shredding all your new thoughts rather, your new statements, your affirmations. I'm wonderful. Guys, because there's so many people that would rather just get a little bit of a quick boost. They don't want to do any real work, and secretly, they don't want to call on God. You call on God and you say, you remind me who I am, because the other's temporary. Wow, you're looking amazing. Really? Wow, that's amazing. Now I can muscle. I'm stronger because somebody said I looked amazing. Of course, it's a boost, a quick boost. And all you're looking at and feeling in your life is a little more lifted, a little more boosted. It's temporary because as soon as you get back in touch with your belief systems, they're going to say, sorry, dude. That was really nice that you said, I'm a really nice person. I'm a valuable person to humanity or whatever. But you don't really believe it, so it deflates. Ask God, change your belief systems using God to download the divine consciousness. It's going to last, and it'll last. It could be forever. It's not a quick boost or an ego boost that you got from your local, New Thought group or whatever it is. The positive thinking groups. We're all just going to hold positive thoughts. If a person, it's like the unfortunate situation they say about suicide. When a person is determined to take their life, they're going to do it, right? You've heard that. Unfortunately, it's the same. You're taking your spiritual life. You're committing spiritual suicide. And if you want to stay dead and asleep spiritually, all the positive thinking will only change you for a moment. There's nothing wrong with wanting a permanent shift. Nothing wrong with that at all. And in fact, it's the only right thing you can do. I want to know this change. I want to start my day. Let me remember. Well, no, I did that a few weeks ago. I did that prayer. Let me remember. Why do I have to do it again? Sorry. Every day. Because the ego has been given by us power of attorney. And it was told it can do anything to keep us from remembering our divinity, which is what ego is. It's just I don't want to be my true self. The ego is just amnesia. So when we say, gosh, why do I have to do this all the time? It's a default program you need to implement. Unfortunately, you go on your computer. Don't you just hate those computer programs that you need every day and you got to go start it up again? That's the ego. Where you want God, you have to select God every day. You can't assume it's on automatic pilot. Your default program coming into the earth plane is the ego is going to be running, which is weird. Because if I started my computer and went, oh, good, I'm going to start my computer and it says, now downloading viruses. Okay. I feel at peace about that. That's the ego, how you start every day. Now downloading all the viruses and misbeliefs about yourself. Oh, that feels good. And then when those belief systems start to make the lights flicker in your house, and you start to see your credit card's been hacked and, it doesn't feel good. And then you're going to pray. And then dare to say, why is it taking so long for Spirit to help me with this situation? Because you've been hacked everywhere. And so Spirit's got to figure out, okay, we're going to do this, and this will take a few days, and and they're gone because it's a holiday, and so on and so on. It's got to try to pull this all back together. And in its infinite, the Divine Mother, the Holy Spirit of God, in her infinite patience, she knows that as soon as it all comes back online and everything's fine and the viruses have been quarantined, you're going to go back to sleep. And she's like, that doesn't matter to me. You could do this 10 times a day, and I'm still going to be there doing the exact perfect work I can do with you. Whatever you let me do. So when something's going awry, you could say, well, this definitely isn't me. This must be the we. Why did you guys do this to my life today? See, it's still trying to get out of it. There's nothing wrong with us saying, I have no idea how I played a part in this, but I do know if it's happening and it's in my airspace, on some level I may have played a part. So, what do I want to do? I think I'll blame everybody else for it. That can't actually help it. When I show up, the divine I then can step in above the lowercase I that I am not. So here comes the real I, the divine I, and now changes can happen. But I've got to step up first and own that I may have played a part. So this world is just really strange, because even Jesus understood, I am not doing anything out of accord with consciousness of God. When you see me, you see God. That's what he said. But he didn't deny that there's a we. So he goes along with playing the game, the crucifixion, forgive them. He sheds a tear when somebody's crying. He's there for people, compassion. He's dealing with people at their level. He didn't just say, what do you mean your daughter's died? Tell her to get over it. It's an illusion. He stepped up and heals the daughter of this man that passes away. See? Beautiful. Because he knows, I got it together, the choice maker soul, and know that all is perfectly well. Not because it'll eventually be well. He's saying because it's all a dream. And I understand that. But people are drowning and suffering and sick. And so let me deal with that. And these people are attacking, and I can say, hey, back off. Pharisees, back off. See, he can play the game and do the three-dimensional stuff. He's explaining that to us. Know the truth, but respect the illusion. That's it. I say that's it like it's easy. It's easily said, but this is our work. I've got to get back, and this is good news. I got to figure out how to be divine. I got to work. No, I get to. Oh my God, even though I got to deal with this today and this today, underneath it, I am as God created me. I've got to write a song today, but I'll surrender to the I am as God created me, and let it write itself. There's nothing wrong with you and I choosing ease in our lives. There's nothing wrong with us saying, God, I don't know how to deal with my child today. Show me how. And the Holy Spirit showing. Because the Holy Spirit isn't taking you out and doing things, and allowing like your non-existence. It's that we start to do things with. We start to expand our consciousness so that one day every human being is going to get to the place of saying, when you see me, you see the Father, Mother, God. I do not father nor mother anyone or anything outside of what the Father and Mother would do themselves. Beautiful, bold statement. This is where I'm going, I being any of us. This is our destiny, because that's who we are. But I forgot. That's why in the Hawaiian, Ho'oponopono prayer, you say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Why are you saying I'm sorry? What you're really saying is, I'm sorry, I forgot. But you're even saying it for the we. In my issues, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you and thank you. But you can also say the same prayer as a we. I'm sorry. I forgot who I was, and I saw you as less than divine. You come to me and you're ill. I didn't cause their illness. See that defensiveness? Why? Because I didn't do it. What does that mean? Why are you triggered? And if you track it, you realize, I was always blamed. My little sister got in trouble and it was my fault and I always had to take care of everybody. Oh man, is that where we're at? Look at it and release that too. Because you get to come to a place of saying, wait a second. If something's weird in my or our life, I am in fact sorry. Not I'm a sorry soul. I'm sorry that I and we forgot who we really are. Please forgive me. That's not a begging. I mean, it's done. Please and thank you for forgiving me. The truth is, I love you. Even if I don't feel it, that's the truth is, I love you and love me. So thank you. Thank you for reminding me of this. And you took it full circle back to God. Thank you for helping me go full circle back to the divine that I am. So this isn't just like reading a book and growing consciousness. This is about taking off the layers of non-God. That's part of it. That's why we do the meditations and the breath work and the processing and Feldenkrais and all the things that we do, techniques and various methods and rituals. It's to peel the layers. Why do you do the doom, 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 the drumming? Because it'll help put you in a state of mind that spirit can fly in under the radar because you're tranced out of your ego enough. So even that has its place. And it doesn't matter if it's Hebrew chanting, Arabic chanting, Native American, whatever culture. The point was, get us in a centered state. It's boom, boom. It's creating a vibe, which we talked about last week, called a sacred space. And in that sacred space, I enter. But if I sit there doing the doom, 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 while I'm doing that, I'm thinking, man, I just don't like that person. I don't know what's wrong with them. I wonder, no, I'm not going to call my ex. They don't deserve a call. Not until they, people can be in their ego and seemingly claim all kinds of spirituality. You and God know. Are you in your right mind? If you're thinking loving, if you're thinking ways to inspire yourself and others, you're probably doing the right consciousness. You're probably accessing and channeling I am of God within yourself. When you're thinking of ways to divide and hate and hurt and compete and whatever it happens to be, you're probably not coming from that place. Not a problem. See it. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Forgiveness is like the quickest, just a quick turnaround. It kind of just pulls the rug out from all the heady stuff and says, let's try and come back to peace. It's an instant turnaround. That's why it's called miracle working, or it's miracles that we experience, because something was heading in one direction, something intervened and said, no. Clarity, and all of a sudden things change. And we go, wow, God, I had a miracle. God did such and such. God's like, I'm always the same. I didn't get in a good mood and give you a miracle today. You changed. Superstitions make it God did something wonderful and miraculous. Well, it is God, because God's the love behind it, beneath it, around it. But it's when we get out of the way that we see the miracles. And you can experiment with this when you're in a really challenged or dark kind of place, to just be vulnerable and say, I don't know. My little self who got myself into this, don't know what to do with this. So I'm going to just be vulnerable and surrender. And you do something along those lines, and you'll still see an incredible shift. It wasn't how many things of ritual or ceremony you did. And if you did, all that did was put you in the right state of mind so you could still do your work. But you still have to do the work. Because I am as God created me. My remembering that is going to be by my peeling off layers of not remembering. And that includes the judgments and hurts and things of the past. Whatever's going on in my life. So remember that simple but profound point. It's not your thinking that takes you home. It's getting your beliefs to come back online. Your real, healthy, love-based beliefs. And anytime you're not seeing actions, experiences, feelings, anything that's off, I'm telling you, it originated not in your thinking, your belief systems. Because if I really know who I am, and then allow myself to believe who I am, my thinking will start getting in line with that. Because even though we are thinkers, our thoughts are going to go, well, that doesn't make sense. Like, why would I go, I know that I'm abundant, and I'm going to allow my belief systems right now to get online with the knowingness of God and say, I am abundant and prosperous. I can feel it in my heart chakra. The knowingness of God is in the upper chakras. The heart now is opening up to the will of God, and I get it. Oh my God, I believe. I believe like I can snap a finger and a winning lottery ticket comes my way. I believe that all these good things can come. Why do I believe it? Because I know the truth of God. So my beliefs are getting online. Now, if you're in that state of mind, why would you go, but I'm going to let my thoughts wonder what it would like to be broke? It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. It's not sane at all. Somebody says, here's $1 million. And you go, that's just amazing, but I'm going to close my eyes. Gosh, I don't even have money for shoes. Why would you do that? But that's how thinking goes. And people think if I can just make myself think happier thoughts, it'll change my life. No, it'll only help. The beliefs that are undermining the thoughts, that's the key. And ultimately, what is the belief that I have to have? This is why we say the grail that stands with the arms extended and says, I don't know. You show me. That's the humility. When I say have beliefs, what did I say? There's two ways to change them. One, with God or without God. Go the with God route. I don't know, but I kind of do because I've been a Buddhist for 20 years and I know how to pray and I know how to chant and I know how to do ceremonies and I've read 15,000 books. If I were you, just be quiet. Just be quiet. When you learn the initiations of the heart chakra, one of the things that the universe does is, hello, beloved. You're welcome to the heart chakra initiation. Come on in. Come on in. Tell us about yourself. Well, I've read lots of books, so show us the stack of books. Well, I can't carry them all. Then why have them? You know, why be so excited about how many books you read if you can't carry them with you? Not because it's not good to read. You're supposed to have become what you read. I haven't become anything that I read, but I still read them because I heard you get into heaven that way. Welcome to the heart chakra initiation. What else have you got? Oh, I got certificates, and I took this guy, and I'm a CEO of a company. As you're standing there, and things are all collapsing out of your arms, and I'm a tarot reading, and your cards are going, and you can't show up with any of it because you tried to hold it physically. The death, you can't take it with you. You're going to stand there, and they're just going to be amused. Hey, we got another one. Come here, check this out. How long do you think they'll be able to hold those cards and their astrology charts and their, how long do you think? Oh, I don't know, 3 minutes. Okay. And they bet on you and enjoy the view because you're like trying to prove how amazing you are. That doesn't work. The stuff you try to carry and prove, that's your thinking. It doesn't translate, lower chakra thinking. It doesn't translate to the heart. The heart says, what have you become? And what's really amazing in the heart chakra initiation, they already know this is going to happen. They already know that all your attempts to prove how spiritual you are aren't going to go anywhere. And they also know the next step. I have all my stuff, and in this room, it doesn't do you any good. Because in the room of the heart chakra initiation, you'll go through the dark night of the soul. And they're going to say, have you noticed it's really cold in your life? Metaphorically or literally. You notice how you don't have any heat? It's kind of cold, huh? Yes, you might want to burn some of those books so you have some heat in the room. And you burn the books and you get a little warm, but you got to burn more and more and more. Point is, in the dark night of the soul, your guides and helpers are going to essentially help you get rid of everything that you thought you had and get you to, did you become any of it? I have to change my beliefs, not just my thinking and telling you what I've read. The dark night of the soul will strip you down. This isn't a talk about the dark night per se, but it will strip you down. Because there's all the human doings, then there's the doings aren't changing who I am as a being. Who am I as a being? And here it comes, the stripping away. Ow, that hurts. Oh my God, I put time into that. But I was a CEO. Oh, I thought I was successful. But I'm married. I have kids. They won't speak to me. Oh my God, everything's stripped away. Pain, pain, pain. The attachment is the cause of the pain, not the stuff. The fact that I believed I was a wonderful person because I had a certificate. It's not true. There's only one way you can really get back to knowing who you are. And it's take this. Open your arms in humility. Oh, but I'll drop all my books and certificates. That's okay. Drop them and say, I don't know. Show me. And whether you're a former drunk and this brings you to a program, or whether you're a person who's abused and betrayed everybody in your life, no matter what you've done, even if you're a decent person. This was mystifying to me when I reached the dark night of the soul. I was like, wait a minute. Not here I am. I was like, wait a minute. It's a different hand raising. Hey, I've been a pretty decent person. Like I'm honestly, pretty decent person. Like, I didn't get all drugged. I didn't drink. I've never done this. I haven't even had coffee. Give me a break. And it's like, it doesn't matter because the sun shines upon everybody equally. The point is, it's your time. So stuff's going to be stripped away. Thinking that because I've lived a pretty decent life morally and all that means I should be able to keep some of my illusions? No. Everybody, no matter who you are, has to be stripped of your illusions, and this isn't a bad thing. Once those are gone, your cup is empty and now can be refilled. And then in comes a new self. New and improved. How much new and improved? It depends how much you've let go and made room. I don't want to just know an improved Michael. I want to know who I am, really. Who am I, really? That's the ticket. Identity. Who am I, really? Well, as soon as you start speaking, you're wrong. If you don't do this, you will not know the answer. So come to this. I don't know. Show me. This is partly what Jesus meant by the many different ways he expressed it, but it's like, when you see me, you see the Father, Mother, God. Of myself, I'm nothing. That's what he's expressing. We've got to get back to this concept of, surrender. And some people will say, you've probably heard the saying, God always answers prayers. But be careful because you're always praying. What that means is your belief systems are always ordering something up. And you just don't even realize it. Well, it's not my fault. Forget fault. Forget blame. Just own. It's true. The more I get plugged in to the love of God, the more I'm going to see and feel the love of God. Well, that implies that when yesterday something happened, it was my fault and I did something wrong. Yes, I or we did something. But you did something wrong. You simply allowed yourself to forget. Well, I need to stop that from happening. If you're on earth, it's happening. Earth is the very temptation to forget. It's the evidence to forget who we are. But forgive, you know not what you did. Let yourself off the hook. This isn't about increasing blame. The volume on blame and guilt. When you hear that voice, that's the ego trying to keep you from pursuing what I'm saying. It's trying to make you go, this can't be good, because I'm starting to feel guilty. You're only temporarily feeling more guilty. Only temporarily, because the ego is trying to mess with you. Pursue it. Go there. Go to that place. Jesus says in the Gospel of Thomas, when you start to seek, you're going to find. And when you do, you're going to be disturbed. Like, dude, what kind of motivational speaker are you? I wanted the guy who says, and you can have a new car and a helicopter by tomorrow. Jesus is like, I got some good news and some bad news. Good news is you can change who you are. Bad news is when you find who you've been, you're going to feel very disturbed. But he says, stay the course, because on the other side of initially being disturbed because you run into your ego, everything is waiting for you. Total remembrance is waiting. There's, to me, this whole idea of why would I resist waking up? I mean, it's attractive in every way, shape, and form. But our ego will not allow it to look as attractive as it really is. So some people say, well, you've got to reach bottom. You don't have to. Bottom can be wherever you are right now. Okay, so we can grow based on reaching bottom and go, oh my God, I got to change my life. But you can also just go, you know what? I'd like improvement. Instead of talking about not wanting to have a worse life, why don't we start focusing on how about just going for the better starting now? I don't buy into you have to reach bottom in the sense that it has to be worse. How about just now making a choice going, yeah, I would like to raise the volume of my relationships, the quality of my relationships, my finances. Let's just go for the better. Instead of I want no bad, let's go for good. Most people are constantly making these unconscious decisions. So they go into a restaurant. Hi, I'll take whatever the soup of the day is. Okay, here it is. It's a rare beef soup. Oh, but I'm a vegan. Why didn't you say that? Well, I didn't know. See, that's what they do in the universe. If you're not specific, The will of God, the will of God, the will of God. I am as God created me. If you're not specific starting your day and throughout your day, and even ending your day, of what you're really looking for, the universe is going to give you the soup of the day. When you walk in a restaurant and say, hi, you could be seated wherever you want, and you say, oh, I don't mind, you put me anywhere it's convenient. Okay, how about here? At the counter? See, this is what people do all the time. It makes no sense to me. Why would people throw a boomerang and expect a paintbrush to come back? I mean, it's not really sane to imagine that could happen. Why would I put out fear-based thoughts and expect, like financial fear-based thoughts and expect a winning lottery ticket? It just doesn't make sense. Oh, you know what? Spirit, I'm ready. I want to move to Canada. So I'm going to get in my car and start looking for southbound signs. All the time. And when people are saying, well, I don't remember calling this in consciously, guys, it's not that you consciously did it. It's when you didn't bring a map. You might have gotten on a wrong road. When you didn't claim, today what I want is to know who I am. And even then there's going to be challenges to teach you who you're not. But I won't get on those roads because there was an S for southbound. It just blows my mind. Why would you drink poison and expect somebody else to die? None of this is consistent. None of this makes any sense. But human beings, oh my God. I'm going to fight for women's rights, but you're not even in touch with your own femininity. This is the human contradiction. And humans love to live like this all the time. And again, blaming everyone else. Even if it's blaming systems of the world, just, blaming. So it's like, no. There's people that claim to be doctors or healers, in Sedona, but anywhere in the world. And constantly, they're on vacation and selling pharmaceuticals to people. Don't say you're a healer if all you do is go on vacation, because a healer is, I'm here to help. The number of vacations starts to tell us you're not really a dedicated healer. You're a doctor, good for you. Because that's under the definition. Look it up. Doctor, vacations and pharmaceuticals. That's a typical doctor. It cracks me up. There's a couple of healers in this town. They're never there. They're always on vacation somewhere. Oh, I needed some me time. You're always off to me somewhere. Are you a healer or what? So if you're a parent, be a parent. Your consciousness, I know what I am, and parenting is part of it, so you're present with your child instead of living some sort of contradiction. But this universe is going to mirror very perfectly exactly your consciousness. It doesn't always look exact because people don't know what they're thinking, believing, feeling unconsciously. That's why tracking and responsibility are huge things to look at. Tracking means I'm not going to just say I'm in a bad mood. I'm going to look at why. What's it called? Know thyself. Know thyself, the Socrates, the Plato kind of, know thyself is only a tool back to truly knowing. Know thyself can be kind of a self-inventory. But self-inventory starts with a bit of soul searching as to where my errors are. But when we continue getting to know ourselves, it's not always digging up stuff like broken belief systems. When we really get to know ourselves, we go through at first disturbed, like Jesus said, but eventually at peace. So it might start looking a little off, and then all of a sudden, at some point, it comes around to, I feel better each day. I have value. You just start to see it. And the more you start to see it, the more you start to live by that principle. Let God tell you who you are. Let God remind you. And unfortunately, to a lot of people, God has become kind of a superstitious thing of religion. Please let God off the hook. Don't let God be the one religion told you about. Religion, as I said, is one of the unholy trinity. Government, religion, science. These are they're attempting to be non-God. I mean, religion, no, I'm not dissing the people. I'm saying the concept, the institution of religion was partly, even though on the outside it was about the worship of God, technically the covert plan was, but never let people actually find God. Just keep talking about it. And if people go father to a priest or rabbi or, minister or whatever they're seeing, when they go to them and say, I had this vision where God spoke to me, they're often told they're possessed. They're often told it's the devil tricking them. I don't know where to go now. See, in religion. So people are very scared because the people talking to them don't know anything. So I want to know God, and I'm ready to know God. And instead of asking people to teach it, do whatever out on the outside, I'm going to ask God to reveal itself to me. I want to have this integrated relationship between God and I. And I start to change. I start to feel a shift. The hypocrisies start to peel off. There's an interesting Buddhist story because, I work with all kinds of people. And I can do a Sunday talk, and I can go and speak to 100 people or 1,000 people. And wherever that church, that spiritual center is. And there's, they're okay, but they want me to talk about certain things. Some New Thought centers say to me, we want you to talk about Christ consciousness. Others want to say the divine I am. Others are talk about ascension, depending on how new agey they are and so on. So, I just can do that. I go this direction, that direction. But it's also interesting because a lot of these centers, it's like, but don't talk about this. I've written books and taught about people healing sexual issues and, we don't want to hear about that. Well, of course not. Because you can actually ascend as part of a person. I want to talk about heart chakra, but don't tell me how to heal root chakra stuff. That's just the spiritual bypassing. So it's a topic that gets weird. And so when I've, expressed that I've worked with people, I've worked with prostitutes and strippers just as much as spiritual leaders that I've counseled. To me, we're all the same. We're all in this together. So there's this interesting Buddhist story where Buddha was kind of like, and it's how he worked. He said, when we go to a new town, we can accept lodging, but only up to 3 days. Because we don't want to be a burden on people. And I think that's beautiful. Don't push it. Don't put people in a position that they might doubt or get upset. Just keep it light. So he goes 3 days, that's how they're doing these towns. In one town, it was a prostitute who says to Ananda, would you stay in my home? Ananda says, let me check with Buddha, my teacher. Buddha, would it be okay? He says, of course, I don't want you to deny somebody's kind offer. Buddha didn't go, oh, prostitute, la, 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 la. Oh my God, I'm not spiritual if I can even hear these words. He's like, sure. I'm surprised you didn't ask me. No, he didn't say it. But so he says, go ahead. Ananda stays with the prostitute. Now, what's happening? The other Buddhist monks, they're like, this is wrong. This is wrong. They sneak over to the house. And eventually, one day they start to hear music, and then they're starting to hear singing, and then they peek and they're like, they're dancing and singing. Oh my God, they're sounding like fundamentalists of any other religion. They go back and they're like, okay, well, the bad news is, first of all, we're going to rat this dude out. Buddha, guess what? But they also assumed we've lost Ananda as one of our friends, the disciples of Buddha. So probably not going to see him again. Story ends with this. They get together at the end of 3 days in the town square, and that's where they meet up. Then they head off to another town. So they're meeting up. Everybody shows up in the town square, and they have one new disciple, and it's the prostitute. And, Buddha, tactful, but he's like, you see, you guys were making your judgments. And my point to this is, guess what? The prostitute she never said she was anything else. She was a prostitute. To me, what's shocking is the monks pretended to be monks and they were prostitutes. You get my point to that? That's where we have to go. God, so inconsistent, so incongruent, so hypocritical, so easily. And when I've had people say, oh, well, Michael, oh, yeah, I heard you wrote a book on sacred sexuality. Oh, be sure you don't bring that when you come on tour and bring your books. I'm like, how about if I put it in brown paper bags, with a flask, and sell some seedy stuff under the table. Like, you got to be kidding me. The light of God has to reach everywhere. How's it going to get there other than through the I am? Where I go, I am. And I need to bring this light to the best of my ability. And people are going to have their stories as to, why not, and it's impossible, and it's naughty. But that's their stuff. They're just running into themselves. So those monks, I'm not saying they're bad, because they had their lesson to learn. And most of them would have went, wow, how did I miss that? I slipped into judgment. I'm supposed to be this non-judgmental monk. And yet the one who went and stayed with the prostitute was doing the work. And Buddha said, besides, even if it's naughty, isn't this good for him to learn willpower? If there were something going on that was a little off, this is for him to learn discretion and so on. So Buddha was just kind of, hey, let it be. Let's watch and see what happens here. There's another story that I love real quick where Buddha was wandering. This is in his later years, and he was traveling with Ananda again. And they're getting to a place, they're very old by this time, and they're traveling through the countryside and getting very tired, and it's getting late, and the body's fatigued. And Ananda says, man, we've got to find the town we're looking for. We've got to find it soon. I'm going to give up. And then Buddha says, okay, well, here's a person over here. Can you tell us where the town is? Yeah, it's just 2 miles. Oh, it feels like such relief. Great, only 2 miles? Okay, let's go. There's nothing there, 2 miles. Okay, now another couple miles and another couple miles. They see another person. Hey, do you know where this town is? Yeah, you're almost there. It's just a couple miles up. Okay, and they go. And this happens time and again, several times. Finally, what's happening each time, Ananda notices, Buddha, after they say 2 miles, Buddha starts laughing. And then the person who's giving the advice and the directions, they start laughing. So he's starting to get annoyed. He goes, all right, you know what, Buddha? You're my teacher. I'll do what you tell me to do. I'll walk, I'll hike, I'll endure. But you got to tell me, why are you people laughing at me? And Buddha said, well, everybody that told you it was just 2 miles, they knew it wasn't. And you were getting all, uptight about it. What you don't understand, he said, because the guy, Ananda's like, they lied to us. How could you be laughing and think that's funny? And he says, you think what they were doing was cruel and lying. It wasn't lying. He says to him, what they were doing was compassionate. They knew. They could tell you, it's 5,000 miles, you would have given up right then, and they would have hurt you. But they had faith in who you are. Because the real you won't give up. If I speak to the you that will give up, I'm going to give you information that's going to wear you out. Does that make sense? I'm going to speak, and it sounds strange. I'm going to lie to you and tell you it's only 2 miles because it isn't lying. If I were to tell you it's so far you can't get there, I would be speaking to the you that wouldn't have faith in getting there. And that's a lie. Look how bizarre that is. Instead, I'm going to speak to the real you that can't give up, that won't give up. How? Incrementally. My beloved, it's just a little farther. Keep going. And you go, and you made it that far, but it's not there. Okay, you know what? Try again. So you're speaking the truth of a person by giving them, what's the word? Hope. And when you speak to somebody who's dying and they say, it sounds like it's hopeless and I'm going to die, and you say, no, it's okay. It's okay to give people hope. No, you might survive, but if you don't, you know what? It's like I said to one of the folks watching online. She said, oh my God, I just got diagnosed. I have severe cancer. And, she's kind of an old hippie type, and she's a real wonderful gal. And she's always wearing these tie-dye shirts and beads and hippie stuff, And she's like, I heard that I might die. And the doctor said, and I said, well, you know what? We believe in miracles. And everybody in the group online, 50 people or whatever number of people are like, yeah, we're praying for you. And we're going to hold light and hold space. You're going to heal. And, all this positive. And I go, but if you don't, I get the tie-dye shirt you're wearing. And she laughed, and there was ease. You see, I don't really want the tie-dye shirt. My point is, there was all this tension about whether, am I going to survive? Too much tension on it. And my point was, you're fine no matter what. And we can even say something to laugh instead of, what do I do? The doctor said, relax. You're okay no matter what. 2 more miles. Keep going. It's going to be okay. No matter what, it's going to be okay. Remember, because Buddha's words were, that was a compassionate act. To humanly lie, but spiritually affirm the truth. I know you can make it. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Please take a few centering breaths. All about knowing who we are. What did you hear today that made the most sense? What did you hear that speaks to the remembrance, the I am? Anything that helps us get to feel hope and purpose. We're almost there. Anything that speaks that way is compassion. It's love. Soaking in, what did you hear today that made sense for you? What did you hear that can take you that extra 2 miles? Is it about the belief and hope? Is it about overcoming the temptation to judge others like the Buddhist monk's story? What did you hear? The importance of I am as God created me to be. And as part of our meditation, I'll share this brief story. Just soak this in. One day, Jesus as a child seemingly has gone off somewhere, disappeared. The parents are not knowing where he is. The long story short, they go looking everywhere for him. When they find him all upset, where have you been? We were worried. What did he say? Think about this, mom and dad. All you had to do was tune into who I am, and you would have known where I was. Was I going to be at a sports tailgating party? No. Was I going to be at a bar? No. Was I going to be at a gun and ammo shop? No. All you have to do, and I'm saying this to all of us, say it to the world. If anybody wants to know where I am, all they have to do is tune into what I believe I am. Where will come from what I believe I am, who I believe I am. But the opposite is also true. Based on knowing who I am, that's where you'll find me. If I am always sick, there's something in my mind that believes that. Am I bad for that? Not at all. Something's going to go on in me. Think about perfect vibrational compatibility. If you're off to a fair, country fair, and you're with somebody that is absolutely in love with absolutely the goddess of foliage and flowers, where are you going to find him? At the hot dog stand? Probably where the flowers are. If they're into equine consciousness and that's their goal, their role, their beauty, that's where you'll find them. Just think about it. Not only would that have been how they could have known where Jesus would be, which is where people are talking God, what about you? Get the outside to match the inside to match the outside. Become consistent and congruent. I talk love and forgiveness. You can count on me likely reading books along those lines. If I believe in we are one with God, why am I watching horror movies? Why would you buy one and give it to me for Christmas? It makes no sense. So, one of the morals of today, not only get in touch with who I really am, the question is, who am I really? Start answering the question. Who am I really? Don't just put that vibe out that says, I don't know, because back to you will come statements of I don't know, and they're usually harsh. Who am I? Wait, God, show me. Pull in an answer so that the frequency can go out to your life and be reflected in your day-to-day life. Ananda? Hold this in mind, hold this in consciousness. And you can remain eyes closed or you can open them. And we're going to go into a closing song with Ananda sharing a tune. Thank you. Nice, right? Just soaking that in that vibe. We're going to close the service with a prayer, but just take a moment, breathing that in. The sound, the meaning. The talk. Who am I really? But that's a question. What did I say? Please answer the question. I am as God created me. And in that knowingness, you'll know that you have the ability to do anything. Suddenly you're writing more songs than usual. You're overcoming challenges. You're parting the Red Sea. The knowing who I am gives me the all power of who I am. Knowing who I am, the words mean just that. That I know the I am. And that I am is in me. Answer the question. Like all the fables and stories of people going through treacherous initiations, and they come to the person, who says, "Who are you?" You better have an answer. The stories about the hero and heroine in a journey, when they confront some evil force, when they know who they are, the other bows to them and honors them. When you say, "I don't know," it's just no response but laughter at you. Silly human. How did you forget who you are? Now you've given us power to stomp you. One of the most powerful, deep movie scenes. What is your name? Monty Python. What is your favorite color? And if they didn't know the answers, it's cast off into a cliff, a chasm. It's the same point. Got to know who you are. And every morning you wake up, and every night before sleep, I said today, and I'm saying consistently, trust me on this, your ego is saying, "Who are you?" The universe is saying, "Who are you?" I didn't say you ordered up challenges. All I said was, when you don't know, it orders up challenges. Start knowing who you are. And lastly, what did I say? What's the easiest way? Ask God. Remind me who I am. In that vulnerability, that openness, remind me. In that innocence, like a child, comes all power. That which is last becomes first. Please stand for our closing prayer. And in case it's not obvious, when we do our closing prayer, you guys all know, it's an affirmation, but the way we say it, the light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. We're affirming this is the way it is. It's not like we're hoping kind of a prayer. The light of God surrounds us. But then we add, and we are that light. See, it's beautiful. And the closing last statement of it, wherever we go, God is. We're not like kind of. Wherever we go, God might be there once in a while. It's not how we do it. Wherever we go, God is. I am. We are. It's just really anchoring pure light. Thank you for your time and patience today, because we've gone a few minutes extra in today's service, so I appreciate your time. Soaking in gratitude for all we learned and heard today. The light of God surrounds us.
We are the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
We are the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
We are the power of God.
And the presence of God watches over us.
We are the presence of God.
Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Folks, before you leave today, remember, if you'd like to receive prayer or healing, get with the chaplains. They'll be standing against the side walls. Also, the bookstore is open, and please take time to look at Ananda's products over there. And online, Google him, find him, and buy some things online. Okay? God bless. Thank you, folks. Bye-bye.